Advice for a man in his 30s who wants to get married but feels that the responsibilities of a husband are too much for him to handle. What are those responsibilities? I think that's something that's important to define. And if you feel that you can only fulfill a certain percentage of those responsibilities, then that is not your decision to make, that is her decision to make, right? Like, where is she willing to live? What kind of lifestyle can you offer for her? These are her decisions, these aren't your decisions. And a lot of times it becomes very easy for us that when we get upset or we find difficulty, that, oh, how am I going to do this or how am I going to do that? That's the wrong question. The right question is, what is she willing to accept? Right? We all can offer something. All of us. All of us have something to offer. And I'm not the one who should set that limit. Number one, I'm not in a position to do that. I'm in a position to offer. I'm not in a position to define. And if I'm defining, then how is that fair to all of the potential women that are out there? Now, if all of them are in agreement saying, no, I'm sorry, like, you know, what you have to offer is not enough, then maybe I can readjust and be like, I think I'm aiming too high. I need to scale back. I need to look at a different thing. And like I said, I mentioned last time that there's a marketplace for marriage, and that is not the same marketplace for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. But if I'm one of those people that cannot afford maybe somebody who has never been married, maybe somebody who doesn't have that type of background, maybe somebody who's not from my culture, okay, am I willing to go into that market where it is more feasible for me to marry into? Right? These are questions that we need to ask. And for some women, like, maybe the question that they also want to ask too is like, okay, well, what is the market for us, for a man who might be less desirable in that marketplace? Like, consider being a second wife. Like, I'm just being honest. And we can talk about, like, okay, you know, what are the spaces and what are the times? Like, how can a man engage in this conversation? I don't think most of us are ready to be. I don't think most of us can handle having a second wife and afford it. And I mean handle more so than afford. I think many men can afford it. I think fewer men can handle it, because it requires a level of transparency. It requires a level of trust. It requires a balance in the community. You know, if you're married and you have two wives and both of them are attending the same community, right? We have to be practical. Like, we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing with, okay, because I think the problem is with a lot of men is they have this mindset, oh, if I have problems with her, let me take a second wife. You're gonna have two problems, Habibi. I'm telling you right now. It's not gonna solve anything. You're only gonna increase your problems. If you are in that position, and like, if you're really having serious problems with your wife, first we have to figure out, what does reasonable mediation look like in that marriage first. Like, solve this first. Because if I know how to solve problems and I know how to solve issues, then it doesn't matter who the person is. I'm going to use the same method, right? It might be a little bit different, because obviously we're all different temperaments. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I have to learn how to solve this. It's like, oh, I want to do this. It's like, bro, you're not even giving your first wife her rights, and you want to go take a second one? So now, mashallah, instead of oppressing one woman, you want to oppress two. I think, like, sometimes we miss out common sense. I think for conversations, and these are conversations I'm okay with amongst men, right? These aren't conversations we should have with our wives. These aren't conversations that we should have with women, where we joke about taking a second wife. Amongst men, that's fine, right? Because we're not going to be marrying each other. But don't joke about these things with your wife. It only hurts her. It only hurts her. And if I'm thinking about doing it, don't I want to win her heart? Right? Like, I want to win her heart. I don't want to lose it. And are there women who are ready? Yeah, if I'm being honest, I think there are women who are more ready to be a second wife than to marry a man who is divorced. I'm being honest. Because they have less to lose. Think about it. The best case scenario is that he'll divorce his first wife. Yes, that's the best case scenario. And then she becomes the number one wife. So are there, just like there are men who can be predatory and try to take advantage of women who are naive, women who are new Muslims, women who are newly practicing, women who are orphans, women who don't have family support, like there are women who are just as predatory as well. But their predation is different, right? They have no problem going after the married man. But why do we call them homewreckers? So you have, in both genders, you have people who have ill intentions. But if you are sincere and you're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I had a young man come to me, extremely wealthy. He was like, Shaykh, I want to take a second wife. I said, okay. I was like, I support it. You're not going to find an enemy in me, I promise. He was like, but my first wife isn't willing. I said, okay. Do you think you can convince her? He was like, no. I said, okay, then you have a choice. And he's like, what's that? I said, listen, if the two of you want to come in, I can talk to her to help you feel like you are receiving all of the emotional needs that is possible from her. That's what I can do. So that it's clear to her, hey, listen, he needs 1, 2, and 3. Can you do that? And if you can do that, I can't promise what he's going to think, and I can't promise what's in his heart. I can't promise those things. But I can promise that he'll stay monogamous. That's what I can promise. And I said, or you have a second choice. He's like, what's that? I said, you can divorce her and you can marry if you have someone in mind. And he's like, no, I don't. He was like, I'm just thinking about it because I'm in a position now where I can. I said, okay, that's good. I'm glad you're not doing that. But if that's what you want to do, you can divorce her and you can take a chance on a new woman. I said, I know it doesn't, right? It doesn't sound, when you say it like that, it's like, okay, this is not as appeasing as I initially thought it was. I said, listen, with this woman, like you have children, she's given you loyalty, she's given you support. When you weren't doing financially well, she was with you, and now that you are, she's still with you. I said, I would not fault you if you said, okay, hey, listen, I no longer want to continue this marriage. I want to take a chance on a new one. I said, do you want to take that chance? And I said, listen, I promise, no judgment for me. If you want to do that, that's your haqq, that's your right. The only thing you have to do is tasrih bil ihsan. I said, and she's the mother of your children. I know that you are not the type who would leave her and abandon her. And he's like, no, I'd still want to, obviously she's the mother of my children. I still want her to live well, and I still want this and that. I said, listen, I know you. How many of us are ready to make that decision? And like I said, joking, fine. We joke about a lot of things. We're men. But, you know what I mean? And just like women joke about things amongst themselves. And I think that's fine. The people we shouldn't joke about with are the ones whose hearts are involved. Right? Those are the ones we shouldn't joke about with. And if this is something that people are serious about, it's okay. And someone might ask me, oh, Shaykh, how in this country and blah, blah, blah. It is illegal to do multiple legal legal marriages. That's what's illegal. Can a second wife or second marriage or third marriage, religiously, not legally, lead to complications if there's a divorce? Yeah, 100%. Listen, there's always, the risk is going to go up, right? The more marriages a man is in, the risk definitely increases, especially when there are children involved, when there are assets involved. The question we need to ask ourselves, is the risk worth it? Sometimes it is. Many times it's not. But that is a personal question that each of us does need to ask ourselves. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq.